Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're taking a look at the Dex team now that S-Shark is in the game, and taking a look at what it looks like in terms of the meta Dex team moving forward. Now, with S-Shark's inclusion, I do think he's most likely just going to walk in on a Dex team. I don't really see him having any issues, even if you're not running a mono fighter-based team. I think he's going to be absolutely fine no matter where you put him on a Dex team. Now, I've done some showcases with this guy with crushing the quick-driven slasher team. We've done some showcases with the fighter team, which is stereotypically just like a strength Dex hybrid. But today, we're just focusing on Dex as a whole. I was going to do some stuff with Dex fighters, but I feel like Dex fighters' only place that they shine is when you are versing quick. And honestly, like the other team that I already showcased, it just works way better, in my opinion. But obviously with CatDog, with Silver Mask, you can do some, and then Blackbeard, or not Blackbeard, sorry. Yeah, Blackbeard's not a fighter. Doing stuff with like that Cat, Viper, Dogstorm combination of legends, and then using Silver Mask in the front, like you can just absolutely demolish Quick. It's not even a fair fight, but look, against Quick, you have a lot of really good options. You have Blackbeard, you have Yamato that you could use as well, so there's just other characters that you can bring. With S-Shark, he does boost Dex characters, and he does boost fighters. Unlike S-Hawk though, I feel like the best place for S-Shark is going to be Dex teams, purely because fighters don't really have a team yet. That's not to say that they're not going to get one, and that's not to say that the fighter team that we have right now isn't very good. However, it's kind of just like this weird makeup of what Dex and Strength would look like if you hybrided them. So for me, it's kind of like a makeshift team of something that's just usually better anyway. For example, like just running Strength. Or just adding Strength Luffy to the Dex team. So, unfortunately, fighters are in a weird spot. But as for Dex, like, they have always been a very, very powerful team. The reason they've been so powerful, though, is because they just have this ability to just stall out so many teams. And with S-Shark, he just adds to that really stally mentality because of his provoke ability, because of his shield, because of his counter, because of the HP buff, because of the defensive buff. With the revive of Super Tandem Luffy, like, the fighter kind of build it kind of works really nicely. However, nowadays, we just have other characters that can blast through their lineups. Characters like Whitebeard and Roger obviously were always a threat to Dex. Now we have stuff like S-Hawk and Anniversary Strength Luffy that kind of just absolutely tear Dex to shred. So we're going to start it off against the old school strength teams. As you can see, that is a prime example of what I'm talking about. Kid literally just decimating the entire lineup. If you have an enemy that has something that goes through defensive effects, Dex really doesn't stand all that much of a chance. That doesn't mean they can't get it done in the back 30 seconds. However, 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to get hit very hard and just die. Something to remember, though, is these are the older-based strength teams. We're not going up against stuff like Krooby. We're not going up against stuff like the new Anniversary Blackbeard. And we're sure as hell not going up against something like Anniversary Gear 5. However, I really wanted to preface and sort of showcase winning fights that characters that bypass defensive effects are Dex's biggest problem. Kuma and Kid on this team are still massive threats. And obviously with Luffy just doing it better, Kobe giving haste, making Luffy really strong, Strength is just in a much better position than what it was looking at the team they're going up against. On top of that, like, Strength isn't even, like, the big problem with the Dex team. Obviously, like, Strength should be beating Dex no matter what. However, with, like, S-Hawk and characters like Whitebeard and Roger on the Slasher team, they can just bypass them like crazy. But if you're going up against Quick, like, Dex is going to thrive. But the idea of today's video is I do want to showcase them against a variety of other teams and put them in some situations that make them stress. The big problem that I do find to the Dex team nowadays is they are very, very slow. They've always been an incredibly good tanking team. They're great on defense because they can stall out fights. And in Grand Party, this is actually a benefit. However, in the rest of the game, it's not so much. S-Shark has a really good bulky ability for Dex characters, and that's why I think he's going to just walk in on most Dex teams. He gives level 6 HP and defense buff to them, and this is an exceptionally powerful ability to just withstand shots, provided those shots don't go through defense. However, giving that HP is quite nice. He does give level 6 attack and speed up to fighter characters as well, so he does make them hit a little bit harder. And you do have a lot of good Dex fighters, besides like Garp and Donjin Jiao, who only boost fighters themselves. You have stuff like 6+ Sabo, Lucci, we're using stuff like Sober Mask. You obviously have Super Tandem Luffy, we have the PvP Bullet. There are a lot of Dex fighters that you can definitely find a way to put on your teams. In saying this though, I think the best Dex characters aren't actually fighters. Characters like Doflamingo, Blackbeard, Big Mom, these types of units that aren't fighter units, they do work the best when we are talking about versing the rest of the game. Including some fighters in the mix, stuff like Bullet, Super Tandem Luffy, and Sober Mask, I did find to be the best characters to use alongside this S Shark, just because they're also getting really good buffs from the rest of the units too. Having something like Doflamingo in the front allows a lot of extra damage because these units are so slow. And then giving the driven buffs to Blackbeard, Big Mom, and actually using Bullet in the front for a bit more damage and those extra buffs just seem to work really, really nicely. With S Shark, he does have this weird ability too that when he takes damage, he gives himself level 1 attack up. Now, it's only level 1 and it can stack up to 10 times. You might be thinking that this is actually like kind of low and like you have to be hit 10 times for this to be good. But once you do hit level like 10 attack, on top of the level 6 he's giving to fighters, he's already giving himself 16 attack. Then, with his special, he can actually give a level 7 attack buff to fighter characters. He gives defense buff to Dex, so if you're using him on a Dex team, a primary Dex team anyway, he's just providing a lot of bulk, but then he's also buffing his own attack. The downside is like a lot of the Dex fighters, as mentioned, they don't really have that much attacking prowess. They're missing a character that can like go through defensive effects. They're really missing a character that can utilize this ability and blast away teams. Now, Big Mom, she can be good. She can be very, very good. She has the ability to halve stats, and she hits a lot of units, but she obviously has the ability to only hit one character. Now, yes, she has the ability to hit the entire team. However, 9 times out of 10, she's only going to be hitting one unit. And it's great that she hits the unit that she halve stats, provided the enemy's not immune to halve stats. But this can whiff, and then waiting for that special to come back around can be a massive problem. Decks don't have that many cooldown reducers. They don't have any CD characters that are really good for the front lineup. Fighters have a couple with Kobe and Otama, but the Dex team really doesn't, and this slows them down massively. So my two big issues with the team is their damage output and how slow they are at getting specials off. Another issue that I do find with them too is they're very prone to stuff like halve stats, special binds, and action bind. And the big one is action bind. With stuff like Raizo Shinobi running around, I did manage to take down this shooter build though, but with Raizo Shinobi running around, action binding is a massive problem. When the whole team just gets action binded and you literally can't do anything, there's a really big chance that you're not going to win that fight. So even if you're running a Dex team and you don't bring any other fighters, S-Shark can work exceptionally well for himself. He gives himself a lot of attack, he gives himself a lot of defense, he gives himself a lot of bulk, and with his special, he actually puts up a shield, a provoke, and a counter. Now, if you guys have used King of Hell Zoro, you guys will have seen how powerful this ability can be. Putting up a counter mechanic and a provoke alone on an incredibly bulky unit is disgustingly strong. Then you topple that with a shield, so the damage he is taking is actually basically negated because of said shield damage. Kind of nuts what you can do in the long run with the amount of output that you have against some of these teams towards the back end of the fights. The problem I have with this shield and this counter ability is that stereotypically, he will always get this ability off way too late in the game. He'll either get action blinded, special reverse, special blinded, anything like that slows this ability down. Even when you have the special ready to go, as you can see, we're 64 seconds into the fight. He gets it on a 31-second cooldown, which is incredibly high. However, right now, we're almost 40 seconds into the fight, and he's nowhere to be seen on the left-hand side of the screen, moving his way into the fights. If you get action binded, if you get special binded, if you get special reversed, this is going to take even longer, and by the time most teams have already used their special, you're in a position where you may or may not die, or you get yourself into a position where you use the counter ability, the enemy has their specials back, they use their specials, they don't actually take any counter damage, and it's just a massive problem. But if you can stall your way out to the back end of the 30 seconds, not come up against some of these crazy characters like the Luffy, S-Hawk, Roger and Whitebeard, or you manage to kill them a little bit earlier, you are going to see the true power of these counter mechanics. That is going to be his true shine. I feel like in Grand Party, his character is going to be way better than what he is in actual PvP. Or we just need a few extra buffs to make that fighter team just a little bit more synergetic, kind of like the striker team. At the moment, it's kind of like a really bad version of what the striker team's been doing. Roger and Whitebeard's sort of been carrying there. Anniversary Luffy's been kind of carrying there. But you kind of need to funnel everything into Anniversary Luffy to make him exceptionally good. And fighters don't exactly have that character that just makes them insane. But look, Dex did get a massive buff with this S-Shark character. If you see him on defense, be not very afraid, but be a little bit of afraid, because that counter mechanic could absolutely decimate you into just tomorrow. So just be mindful of that when you are versing him. But if you guys did pull the unit and you guys have been trying some stuff out, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know what teams you've been running and how you like to use this character. If you enjoyed the showcase, make sure to belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff for me. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, though, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one.